This brief video provides background information on the APT Counseling Resources Personality Traits Self-Assessment to help you understand the format of the tool and how to interpret your results. The Big Five personality traits describe these aspects of human personality. How open are you to new experiences? To what extent are you conscientious in your day-to-day routines? What is your level of extroversion? How agreeable are you? Do your emotions tend to be positive or negative? The next slide will show the diverse elements that make up each of these traits. Each trait is comprised of multiple elements called facets. We'll scroll through them quickly, but you can pause the video if you want to study these elements more closely. Here's a quick example showing why it's important to analyze the results at the facet level. Let's say a couple scored the same relative strength on extroversion, but one partner was higher in warmth, gregariousness, and positive emotions, while the other was lower on these facets and higher on assertiveness, activity level, and excitement seeking. While both may have an extroversion score of 70%, they would differ significantly in how they manifest their extroversion. Our self-assessment has 40 items in order to measure each of these facets. Measuring and reporting at the facet level is one of the key differences between APT self-assessments and other online personality quizzes. The tool generates a bar graph at the trait level, but we conduct the facet level analysis after the person has completed the self-assessment. Our self-assessments are based on an Excel spreadsheet. To complete your self-assessment, follow these steps. Read all 3 statements on the row. Decide which statement most closely represents how you act in specific situations. Then, select the number under that statement and type it in the green shaded cell at the end of the row. If you can't decide between 2 statements, type the number in between those 2 statements in the green shaded cell. To move the cursor to the next green shaded cell, hit Enter 3 times. Be sure you type only in the green shaded cells and that you enter a number in each cell. If you skip a cell or type in the wrong cell, use your mouse or trackpad to put the cursor in the correct cell. Sometimes you may find that none of the 3 statements describe how you act all the time. In that case, choose the statement or statements that most closely describe how you act most of the time. Your responses will generate a graph that looks like this one. It shows the relative strength of each trait. The percentages will not add up to 100%. That's because each trait is measured separately. The purpose of the graph is to allow you to compare your graph with your partner's graph to identify traits where there may be conflict in your relationship. We'll show you how this works in the next slide. Now let's meet Emma and Julian. Their graphs show that they are close in terms of openness to experiences. This means they're likely to feel the same about new experiences like trying a new restaurant or a new leisure activity. They are also likely to enjoy art and music to the same degree, so this is a trait where there will likely be little conflict. However, their scores on conscientiousness are quite different. Emma is likely to have more self-discipline and to be more orderly in how she approaches routine tasks. This trait is very likely to be a source of conflict. Remember, the purpose of comparing graphs is to identify areas where talking through conflicting trait characteristics can lead to a stronger relationship. It is not intended to provide ammunition for one partner to criticize the other. So, in the case of Emma and Julian, conversations about how Julian can be more conscientious and how Emma can be more patient and accepting are very likely to smooth over their differences in this trait. Extroversion is another trait where this couple differs significantly. Julian is likely to talk more than Emma, to be energized by large social gatherings, and to enjoy being the center of attention. Emma is probably just the opposite. So Julian will want to learn how to listen without interrupting, which may be a challenge for him, to be understanding of how Emma reacts to high energy activities and loud social situations. Emma will want to remember that this is a big part of Julian's personality and not judge him because he's different from her. Their agreeableness scores are fairly close, but Emma is slightly more agreeable than Julian. This means Julian will want to be careful to gently probe for what Emma really prefers in some situations, situations in which she may defer to Julian even though she has preferences that are just as valid as his. Finally, Julian is prone to negative emotions. This trait, emotional inclination, is sometimes referred to in the research literature as neuroticism, but we find emotional inclination to be a more accurate label. Emma can do a lot to help Julian see more positive elements of life situations and to be less anxious about things. Now that you're familiar with the self-assessment structure and purpose, you're ready to respond to the items on your self-assessment. Remember, you can do a few items at a time. The tool will save your work. Just use the link to go back to the self-assessment when you're ready to continue. When you've responded to all the items, send us a quick email, and we'll generate a more detailed report that we know you will find helpful. Most people have lots of questions about what their results mean and what the comparison with their partner's results suggests in terms of improving their relationship. We love questions and we'll be glad to answer all of yours. Just email us or contact us via phone call or text. If you do call, be sure to leave a message and we'll get back to you right away. And thank you for using APT Counseling Resources.